Okay, guys, we're live. It's Let's Talk Raw Land. I'm Jake Robinson, your host, and I've got a special guest on today, Adam Southey. I try to do that. Try to do it like you do, Justin's.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I like it.
All right, so Adam Southey is co-host of Casual Fridays REI podcasts. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Or is it RIE, real estate?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Casual Fridays.
Well, you told me I had got it backwards, and I kept thinking, I know it's REI. It's not, can't be RIE, but you were talking about whether I had Casual Fridays before. I just now figured that out. So, welcome to the webinar, and you're also a pro member, Land Academy member, and we're going to grill you tonight. Okay, I'm going to squeeze every neuron that's firing in that brain of yours and see if we can get whatever the secret formula is and the secret county list. If we possibly can.
Yeah, you run that secret county list, it'll cost you.
Okay, $5. Isn't that what it was?
$5. Yeah,
I think it was $5. Yeah, I listened to your podcast actually. So, and I've given you guys shout outs here on. This is a brand new webinar series where we interview people, successful members of Land Academy, and want to do it every week. I hadn't been able to do it exactly every week, but I do appreciate you coming on board and giving up your free time, because you say normally you're drinking like a glass of milk and going to bed right now. You're like an old man syndrome.
that's not far from the truth.
Okay. Or is it wine? I mean, don't you go to the winery quite a bit?
No, that's Justin. Justin's the guy. Justin's the wine fan.
Oh, really? I thought that was you. He always makes fun of. Is that him that winds up going to the winery each week?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I got that backwards. Yeah. Hey guys, there's a chat feature. Please say hello and say where you're from and type it in the box there. If you have any questions, type your questions in the box. We'll save your questions. You can mark it as a question. If you mark it as a question, it will be frozen on my monitor over here so that we won't miss it. There's Daniel from Portland, Oregon. So that is about as far as you can get from me in the U.S. By the way, where are you?
I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth. Okay, you're right down there. Man, there's a lot of pro members down in that area.
Yeah, we get a lot of listens from the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Okay, cool. You have Tim Flood's there. He got his kickstart from Justin, set him down and schooled him not to go get a job. And man, based on this home run he just hit, it was the right move.
Yeah,
he was my first interview on here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's the guy that got me in the business. I think I told you this when we first chatted. We're in a Facebook group together, a totally different group, has nothing to do with real estate. He just came on one day and said, well, I guess I'm going full time in the land flipping business because my boss just fired me. Everybody was saying, go for it, man. I hope you make it. Congratulations. I'm like, what the heck is land flipping, dude? And I started asking questions. That's my superhero power, is asking questions. Hey, Mary from Akron, Ohio, and Matt Peterson from the Houston area, currently in Austin. Okay. Lowell, somewhere in Florida. Justin.
I see.
Is that Justin?
That's got to be Justin. He's the only one that would ask that question.
Do you like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Is that a yes or no?
Sure. I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I like more. No,
there's got to be.
I like the block function on Justin more than I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
You want me to eject him? Let's don't eject him. Jason, hey, Jake and Adam from Tulsa. I've been at this for a week, slowly crawling through the program. Hey, welcome aboard, man. It's a great time to get involved in land. Matt from Hermosa Beach. He said that he doubted you were going to come on board, Justin. He didn't think you had the cojones to face up to the ejection button. But are you on your phone? Because he said you'd be on your phone. If you're on a laptop or a desktop, Justin, we might actually bring you in the room just for a minute. So see if we have like a battle between the co-hosts, since this is a different domain. By the way, Justin, we don't have a G-rated show. You can cuss all you want. If you want to come on here and cuss Justin now, if you want to come on board, I don't know if I can bring you on board, but there is a function where you can raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, I'll see if I can bring you on board. So, all right, let's get to it. Adam, tell us about how. I mean, I know you know Justin. You guys go back as friends, don't you? Way before the land business.
Yeah, we've been friends for 20 plus years.
What, at high school or what?
Yeah, we became friends probably sophomore year.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
And so how did y'all wind up in the land business, or did he get you into it? You get him into it? How did that work? I mean, were you in real estate before you got in this thing?
So I've been in real estate for a long time. I pretty much done everything you can do. I was a realtor. I was a home builder. I've done
Okay.
um, homes. I've done flipping houses, rental homes, you name it. I've done it. And I was a realtor, and I had some rental properties when the market crashed. And just like a lot of people, I went flat broke at that time. And Justin was working as a manager for the railroad, and we were really good friends, obviously. And so I told him, man, I'm broke. And he said, well, we're about to hire a bunch of conductors if you want to go ride trains. He said you'll hate life, but it'll pay you, and you'll get back on your feet. So I said okay, and he helped me out. I got a job, and I became a conductor, and I rode trains for 4 years, day in, day out. You're on the road way more than you're at home, and got myself out of debt and back on my feet. And during that time, I hadn't gotten back into real estate. I was still bruised, but I learned how to become a software developer last 6 months on the railroad so that I could get a normal life where I could be working 9 to 5. I could have weekends off, and that's what I did. So I went from being a railroad conductor to a software developer. And as a software developer, you spend a lot of time in front of the computer. You don't really talk to much people. So that's when I started getting into podcasts. And I wanted to get back into real estate. And I came across a side hustle podcast, and there was 2 land investors on there. And when they told their stories, my mind was blown. Like, I couldn't believe what they were saying. These guys were like, yeah, we're buying land, acres of land for a few $100s, and then we're selling them online. And I was like instantly just overwhelmed with like wanting to do it. Right. So I just started reading up and listening to every podcast I could. I think just what most people do. And then finally took the dive to get into it.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2016. So I joined Land Academy in April of 2016.
Were these guys on the side hustle show, were they Land Academy people or just somebody else that were doing something similar?
Yeah, they were Land Geek, Mark Podolsky.
So those guys do something similar, but they don't do it the way Land Academy does it, do they? Are they the ones that do like postcards and stuff?
No, Land Geek is real similar. So they do blind offers. I think a lot of their stuff is contact the county. Like they don't push data.
Really? Okay.
Contact the county. You get a list, whether it's back taxes or not. I don't know, but you mail you do the same thing. You mail them. It's not the data centric way that Land Academy teaches.
Right. So we're not in the real estate business. If you're a Land Academy member, you're in the data business. You just happen to be using, because you could do it with cars. I know hadn't Justin done this with cars?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think he's definitely bought and sold some cars, but he's done more so with this exact same with houses and multifamily.
Oh, that does remind me. Did you hear about the announcement?
Are you talking about the one that?
What?
Talking about the one that Land Academy sent out today?
Yes. Yeah. It's not, guys. This is not a good announcement. By the way, I don't know how many people here are from a Land Academy, but Land Academy is a membership site, and we paid really good money to be a part of it. It's an educational site. They teach us how to do this stuff. They were on the verge of releasing House Academy like this month sometime. And I don't know if you do you listen to Jill and Steven's podcast? Keep in mind you're being recorded. Okay. So just recently, like this week, Steve said something about, we got Ben, the audio has started. You might want to refresh your browser. Make sure you're on Chrome. That's the best browser to be on. Turn off anything in the background like Dropbox or Skype or anything like that. Turn off your Wi-Fi on your phone if you're on a laptop. If you're on your laptop, turn your phone off, or vice versa. Anyway, try it again, log out and log back in. Anyway, Stephen made a comment about how they were going to have to scale back on their professional life. Did you? I don't know if you remember that. This is just last week. They were saying that it was so hectic, and Jill was agreeing with them. Today, they just sent out a message only to the pro members, only through the private messaging feature. They did not announce this, broadcast this live. In fact, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but they decided based on how much time it's going to take to put a whole new site together. And they were talking about doing a whole new different show, a different website, a different membership. Like they're going to double everything they're doing right now to do House Academy. They decided to scrap it. They're pulling the plug on it.
I know. I saw that. I kind of blew my mind.
I mean, it was just late in the day too. I mean, it's only been like an hour and a half since the notice went out. I don't know how many people. Have you heard about this, Justin? How many people in here are part of? I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to ask people if you're a Pro Academy member or not. So if you're a Pro Academy member, you know you are. You paid a fee to be in. So I think the poll up. Do you guys see a poll going on? Do you see it?
I do not.
Adam?
No.
Okay. I thought it was broadcasting it here. Do I have to change? Oh, here we go. There it is. So far, 83% of the members, or people on this call, are Pro Academy members. 17% are not. So I don't know. 80% of 13, I'd be about 70% of 13 is changing now. So that's about 7 or 8 people. Have any of you guys heard about the House Academy getting scrapped? The poll is okay. How many of, hi, Adam, Jake, and all, sorry, I'm like, Nick Sliger's on the call. He's my second interview. Sanju, you didn't have any idea that they scrapped House Academy? Yeah, man, this is shocking, man. I was really looking forward to it. They said they're just going to stick with land. That's what brung them, and they just don't want to have to continue to work the hours they're working. So, Justin, I hadn't heard you. Friday was still a go. Yeah, no, they just sent it out today. It was just like an hour and a half ago that they sent out this message. I haven't.
Jason hadn't heard. Nick, have you heard about that? Did they scrap land the House Academy? Take it over. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe somebody. Yeah, well, they decided to. I don't know if you heard last week, Nick. You just came on the call. They literally were talking about how they were so under the gun with so much of their professional. They literally scheduled dinners for their kids on their calendar. That's how busy they are. So I don't blame them. I just don't think it's cool. I was really looking forward to that. I mean, they were about to release. They kept saying it's going to be released any day now. Anyway, that just kind of sucks. What do you think about that? I don't know. I think Neil has a pretty good question.
What? Okay, let's see that. Neil, April Fool's joke. Bam! Got you good. How many people fell for it? It was an April Fool's joke, and Adam was in on it. So anyway, I mean, I don't ever get a chance to do an April Fool's joke. Just happened to be the best time to do it. But no, I'm sure that Land Academy is coming out in the next 2 or 3 Sanju, I swear. How many people did you? How many people? I do like to joke, Sanju. How many people bought that though? Got Matt. Okay, good. All right, let's get back to the business at hand here. Tell us. Okay, how did you? You saw these Land Geek guys on this. How did you wind up? Why didn't you wind up with them instead of Land Academy?
So when I heard, when I heard the Mark Podolsky podcast, I wanted to see if there's anyone else doing this stuff. So I just started looking for more and more information. And I came across Stephen and Jill's podcast. And for some reason, I just clicked with them. Like I liked their message. I liked what they had going on. I liked their offer. And so I actually had my finger on the button to pull the trigger for Mark Podolsky's, and I just backed
Really?
out. Yeah, and I went over to Land Academy, and I think it was that Land Academy was um, pretty data centric. And as a, I say software developer, but I was a SQL developer, which is essentially just a data analyst. And so as a data analyst by trade, I could really relate to the data part of the business. And so I went with it.
Well, those guys, what's the main difference? I haven't even looked at their program, and I don't even know the guy's name. When you say the name, I say, "Oh yeah, that must be that Land Geek guy." Is it is it commensurate with the? Is it
Yeah.
similar in pricing?
I don't know what it is now. I think at the time that, yeah, I think it's about the same.
Yeah, and then Seth Williams came out with a program. You know
I've
who
looked
he
on
is, right?
I've looked on his website. I haven't actually seen anything about it though. Have you
No,
checked it out?
I have seen it. It's about the same price. And he used to be a member of Land Academy because I know Jill and Steve had actually interviewed him at some point, and he endorsed it. But I think now he's decided to do his own deal. But I listen to his podcast, and he's got a partner on there with him.
Yeah.
And everything I can tell, they're doing exactly the same thing. They're doing two letters being mailed out. So
Yeah. I like the RE tipster. I like how his website has a mix of things. I don't know if you heard the the windmill episode, but that really piqued my interest because I thought it'd always be cool to own some property with a windmill on it.
really, so did you wind up doing that, or
Oh no, I have not done it. No, I just think it would be cool to do.
well, one that actually works, like these gigantic windmills, or like the old style Dutch windmills?
No, the big ones that generate electricity that you get royalties
Yeah.
off of. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind somebody putting some things up like that. So, yeah. So anyway, you could have went either way, but you went with Land Academy. I found out through Tim Flood, my first interview. When I started asking him, what is this land flipping about? I had that same kind of reaction you did to the side hustle show. I was really enthralled with it. And I said, man, can I get you to come on and let me do a webinar interview, just me and you, no audience, just so I could record him, so I could learn it, and I would have a record of it. He said, well, look, dude, if you want to learn how I'm doing this, just go to Land Academy and they'll teach it to you. I said, you mean you didn't invent this? He said, no, they taught it to you. You mean it's like a membership site or something? He goes, yeah. Oh, okay. I just couldn't believe that there would be a group of people that out there doing this. By the way, before we get too much further, I want to let people know about your podcast. So I'm going to broadcast. If you guys, well, let's do this. I'm going to do another poll. This poll is going to be how many people listen to, okay, stop, reset poll. All right. I want to select a poll here. How many people, all right, who listens to who listens to the the Casual Friday REI podcast?
Everybody, I hope.
100%. That's what it's showing right now. 25% don't. But you know what? You ought to be excited about the ones that don't, because these are new listeners you're going to get.
I like that.
So,
yeah.
So 17% of these people out there, a handful, 14%. So now people are lying about whether they listen to it. So 20%. So about 3 or 4 people don't know about your podcast. Well, there you go. Maybe 4. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to put up how to go and register or go subscribe to their podcast. All right. I'm going to end the poll. Say again.
Subscribing is the most important part. That really helps us out.
Exactly. And
Nick.
What did he say?
He says that's how he knows it's past my bedtime.
All right. Review the podcast now. Whoops. Wrong thing. I'm going to publish that. Okay. So now, guys, there should be an offer up there. Oh, there's your logo. You can't see it, can you?
I can't see it.
Look on the right-hand side, the blue tab. Go down the 4th one that has a little megaphone and click on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it on there?
Yep.
So you can, that's the review the podcast. All right. If you've already listened to it, go review it, guys. We need some more 4 and 5 star reviews. Don't give them 1 star reviews. Not from this audience, but, you guys can do that. But I've got another offer I think it takes you straight to the, we'll put that up here in a minute. We'll give people a chance to click on it. If you click on that, it won't take you away from the webinar. It'll just open a new window. You guys can go over and review the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and remove that offer. I want to get all this housekeeping stuff out of the way. So, oh no, I don't. Oh, didn't you give me a link?
I did, yeah.
Okay, I'll just look it up or if you want a link, you can post a link to subscribe into the chat room there if you want to do it that way. If you can grab one. Let me go back here and see if I can find it. I'm looking. Here it is.
Yeah.
I've got it. I'll post it in here. Okay. All right, so let's go here. I'll set a new sticky message. Okay, there it is, guys. You can go over there and subscribe to the podcast. So you said you got into podcast before this. Were you doing other podcasts at some point?
Oh, no, this is it.
Okay, so you got involved in Land Academy in 2016. You had plenty of real estate experience under your belt. Did it help you or did it actually hurt you as far as mindset and business goes?
I don't know, because it's so different than anything that I've ever done. Like, there's so much that I didn't know to expect, right? So before you've ever actually done a deal, to believe that you can buy an acre for $100 just seems unrealistic, right? And so my first mailer, I targeted, I think properties under five acres, and I didn't have a ton of money. So I sent out actually I did 2 mailers. I did one for 300 or 400. And then the very next week I did another one for 300 or 400. And when offers started coming back, my mind was blown. It was crazy to me that I had sent out $250 offers for 2.5 acres, and people wanted to sell. And that, plus I had never dealt with people, because I've never sent blind offers. I've never dealt with so many mad people in my life either.
Yeah, you don't like taking calls, do you?
No, I won't do it anymore.
I love it. Oh yeah. I mean, so far I have not received any letter that wasn't a hate mail. It's always been scribbled on. And some of them are nice and friendly almost, but you're not buying my land. And some of them are pretty nasty, but I get lots of hate calls. However, I just turned a lady that said I must be doing a scam. And by the end of the call, she was giving me her email address to be on my buyers list. Yeah. So I like to turn those people around. And I basically just say, look, I understand this doesn't seem like it's a good offer to you, but you're not the person I was really looking for. I was looking for that person that don't want their land. They didn't buy it. Their dad gave it to them through inheritance. They don't even live in the same state. They're not coming back. They don't like Tennessee. They live in, Portland, Oregon, or whatever. And they're so lazy, man, they won't even call a real estate agent to try to sell it for them. And they get my letter, and it's like they didn't pay anything for it. So it's not like they have a value on the property. They take it. But here's what I do. I turn around and sell it for maybe 30 or 40% under market value. So somebody like you can come along and get a great deal on a piece of property, appreciate the property, and do something with it. If I came to you with properties that were 30 to 40% under market in your area, would you want to know about it? Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, give me your email address. I'll send them to you. Yeah. I get a bunch of people that way. But I did have a guy just the other day told me that somebody needs to cut off my man jewels. He didn't use that word. And then he went on to cuss me out. The worst cussing I've ever been cussed out before. Actually threw the N word on me too. I can't remember exactly how he did that, but it's just the way he was just looking for anything to offend, I guess.
Yeah, they get so mad. They get so mad that they make up curse words, stuff you've never even heard before.
yeah, they put things together that don't go together. Like, oh, okay, I don't think how that works. But see, I've been in sales all my life, and the phone has been my best tool. I'm setting appointments to go see families to talk about their finances. That's the background I came from. So I had to get good on the phone, and I got good at overcoming objections and building rapport. And so when somebody calls me and cusses me out, I just laugh. I don't really laugh at them, but I could see that you're not enamored by my offer, sir. Well, hell, blah blah blah, no. And okay, well, I understand how you feel. I would probably feel the same way if I were you. And then we go off on a tangent. But anyway, I just want to get them off my list. Can you give me the last 4 digits of your reference code, and I'll take you off my list? You blah 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 blah. Okay, sir, but if you'll just give me the last 4 digits, I'll take you off my list. So you don't do that. You use a service called Pat Live now?
Yeah, that was the first thing I outsourced. I did it as quick as I could. I have a Pat Live number. I have a script that they go through, and everything goes to them. And if they don't answer every question that Pat Live gives them, or they don't, so one of the questions is, do you accept the offer made? Right? If they don't answer it, or obviously if they say no, I don't call them back. But if they don't answer it, they just say, I demand to talk to Mr. Southey. Well, I ain't got no time to call them back either, because at this point I'm sending so many offers out every month that I'm dealing with the people that want to sell. And I'm probably missing out on some deals, but it works.
I was about to say, that's just rude, man. That's just being rude when you won't call him back. I know today on your podcast you said, no, I'm not going to call them back. Why should I call them back? They're not going to take my offer. It's just wasting my time. I get that. I don't think Justin agreed with that, though. But anyway, so you just tell them, I don't want to hear from them unless they call Pat Live so many times that they're running up your minutes.
And at that point, I'm calling them back because I'm angry. Like, quit wasting my time. Quit wasting not just like my personal time. Quit wasting my Pat Live time. That adds up to it.
Is there a chance, though? How many deals are you missing out on? To me, it seems like you got to be missing out on some deals.
Yeah, I probably am, but I know what my numbers are, right? And I seem to always hit them. And if I'm missing out on a few, it doesn't really affect me. It doesn't really bother me. I don't think twice about them.
What are your numbers?
So I can send. I know if I send between 1,250 and 1,500 offers, I'm gonna buy between 5 and 7.
And how long does it take from the time that the letters actually start hitting people's mailboxes before you start getting calls where they want to sell their property?
Yeah, it kind of goes in a wave, right? So it seems like a lot of the people. So when offers owner sends it out, it's typically 12 to 15 days before people start calling. And there's always the angry people that call first.
Yep, true.
Right. And then you kind of go through that. You get through that wave, and then they start calling. And then there's this mix of people that accept it and people that want to negotiate that come in on this next wave. And then there's the stragglers that come in after that. So I got 2 calls last week from property that I mailed 6 months ago. And
what are those calls like?
That's essentially the same thing. Well, with Pat Live, they don't get a lot of time to have a conversation, right? So when they call Pat Live, it's, hey, thanks for calling, blah, blah, blah. Can I get can I ask who I'm speaking to? And they get their name. Then, okay, great. What's your phone number? Are you calling about an offer? What's your APN? What's your
reference number?
Reference number. What's your APN? Do you accept the offer made? Any other comments you'd like to make? And it seems that even if they're angry or they're 6 months down the road, they either answer it or they don't, and based on that, they get a call back.
Well, see, I must be doing something wrong. My first mailer, I sent out 1,174 pieces, and it actually went from any parcel from 4 acres all the way up to the largest parcel in that county, and there was only 1,174 total for all of that. I did buy 2 properties from it and got, I thought, really good prices on it. But I just sent out 3,675 letters, and I've gone through my hate mail and the hate calls, and I'm not getting any calls yet. Like, there's a big lull. I'm just wondering, am I pricing it too low? Is there such a thing as pricing too low? Didn't somebody send Well, I mean, did somebody send out a mailer with zero? It was like a mistake and it didn't have a price. They still bought some properties.
Yeah, but that's going to be based on the type of property. So where that, I'm guessing, since I don't know what you mailed and I don't know what they mailed, I'm guessing the people who got a zero offer, it was probably cheap dirt desert properties that they would
Okay.
probably would have got $100 offer to begin with, right?
Now,
And
these people over here are proud of their property.
no, I'm saying the other, the
Yeah,
desert
yeah,
property, right?
right.
And where you're at, where you mailed, if they're proud of it, then
Hmm.
that lower offer, it ain't going to work, especially if you're mailing for really big properties. You kind of got to base it on what Justin likes to talk about, pricing for margin. So like you pick essentially how much money you want to make, and you base your offer off on that, and you base your offer on that. So that whole
Give
10,
me a number example of that.
well,
Give me,
let's say you're pricing for you're mailing somewhere where it's 4,000 an acre or 5,000 an acre. You wouldn't necessarily make a 10% or 20% of that value, right? You would go more like, okay, if the acre's worth 5,000 an acre, I'm okay making 2,000 an acre off of it, or I want to make $2,500 an acre off of it. And so, and that it, in that example, if you mailed a 10-acre property that's worth 50, you'd mail it for 25,000, knowing that you can make 25,000.
wait a minute. You just said if you know the property's worth 50, you'll offer 50%, half of it.
If I'm comfortable making 25,000 per deal.
So, are you saying that you're going to sell it at retail then?
Most of the time, I shoot for retail. Yeah, I'm not always. In fact,
Oh,
with my owner finance properties, I'm above retail.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that because you can get more than that when you get a down payment or and a monthly payment or whatever. But see, the 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 class the education says do 25 to maybe 35%
Mm-hmm.
of the lowest property out there. And
Mm-hmm.
I've got these people that calling me up and say, "You offered me 11,000. That's how much my property is worth per acre."
Mm-hmm.
A hole. They throw that in there too.
Yeah, and so that's one of
So
those things. That's one of those things you kind of learn along the way. Is some of the properties, especially out west, a desert property or a semi-desert property, that 10% of the value that works. Those people are
okay,
used to getting that. But let's say you go to the eastern part of the United States where it's real pretty land, or
that's where I'm at in
people,
Tennessee.
yeah, the people are really proud of it or whatnot. They're not used.
Hmm.
There's not a lot of investors working that area, so they're not used to getting that kind of stuff. But B, um, they're just not going to take a 10% offer, right? So you got to adjust. You got to kind of learn with it and adjust how your offer is going to be made.
Well, what we did was we took the lowest price property on Realtor.com in that county, and we went and did a dual offer. We did an A/B split. We did 25% for this 4-acre property, 35% for this 4-acre property, and we just went up the scale and offered 25 on half of it, 35 on the other. I still haven't heard back, but you're telling me 2,000 on an offer of a $5,000 property. That's a 40% offer, so I'm already lower than that. So even my 35% may not be high enough in this land of golden opportunity where everybody thinks their property is a golden goose. I mean, they really are proud of their prices.
I mean, and that doesn't always work every time, right? Because I know that Justin's had deals and some consulting clients have had deals where they'll send out offers just like you said at 25, 30%, and they'll nail it. They'll make 50, 60, $100,000 a deal. But in my experience, from what I've seen, if you're mailing those really high end properties, you got to base on your offer on what you want to make on the back end.
And what you think you can sell it for.
Right.
So if property in my area is so high, I mean, it is. I mean, you don't see it come up for sale very often, and when it does come up for sale, it is high priced. So if you can even sell it to anybody else for maybe 10 or 20% less than what retail is, that would be a bargain around here. So maybe I can afford to go up. All right, we got a question from Matt. He says, Adam, if you're talking to a person just starting, how long should you expect it to take to sell a purchased piece of land? So you buy your first property, how long should it take to sell it? That's a big depends, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into that question because it really has to do on how much you hustle. So I'll give you my experience. When I first started my first properties, I didn't have any marketing. I didn't know how to do Craigslist. I didn't know Facebook, nothing. So I bought 2.5 acre properties, and they took me 6 months to sell because I just put it at the time. Land Academy had a mailer, a list, and you could put your property on that list every week, and they would mail it to their group. And so I just did that because Lands of America was too expensive to afford for me at the time. So I just put it on their list and just kind of let
And
it
that was
sit.
the only place you did it?
Yeah, I did because the land accounting course didn't really focus on sales that much, and so
I didn't realize conductors made people so lazy.
oh,
Being a railroad guy.
you don't even know how lazy a conductor is.
I can just look at Justin and tell.
Justin was the manager, so I don't even want to get into them. You want to talk lazy? They invented it.
Really?
No,
They
no,
taught
no.
you guys. I
I'm
know. I'm
joking.
just messing with you, man. But you
But
weren't
maybe,
lazy. You just didn't know. You didn't know
yeah,
you needed to do everything. So
yeah.
what did you do next after
And
that? Did you?
so then came Facebook, and then Lands of America, and now Craigslist. Craigslist is where I get all my sales. And so the way everyone knows how Craigslist works, well, it's not all. It's where I get most of my sales. But on Craigslist, you post a property, it eventually moves down. As more people post, you move down, right? And
Right.
so if you just post on your property on Craigslist once, it goes down. No one's ever going to see it again. It could take a long time to sell, right? You're just not in front of people. So what I do now is we're posting 10 times a day on Craigslist. So it's always at the top. It goes down, another one comes up. It goes down, another one comes up. I've
Wait a
sold
minute. Another one, like a different property, or that particular property you posted
same
10
property,
times?
same property.
Holy! How do you have time to do that?
I have a VA.
A VA, like in the Philippines, or where?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's
And
and
so
that's
all.
that's all he does for me. Yeah.
So he just goes on once an hour. What does he do?
No,
Just to edit? Did you just edit the ad and change something small so it pops back up there? You
mm-hmm.
can't just.
You can't
How
put
do you set it back to the top?
you can't put the exact same ad on. You have to change something. So instead of saying like beautiful 80 acres near electric, you would say 80 gorgeous acres, utilities near, and just switch it up.
And do you have to did you have to teach your VA to do that? Do you give them like, here's all the substitutes that you got to do, or you just tell them, look, you just need to change it?
They specialize in it. There's a lot of people
Okay.
there's a lot of VAs that specialize because we're not the only ones that use this. So apartment locators use it, realtors use it. I just give him pictures, my pricing, and there you go. Go get it done.
He
And
writes the ad for you.
yeah, he writes the ads, he writes the headlines. Um, you can't just do it from your same. So he's in the Philippines. He has
Right.
to Craigslist wants you to look like you're in the state that you're posting in, right? So if I
So
have
does he have to spoof?
yeah, so he has VPNs and IP, whatever. He has all of that make it look like he's in Nevada, or make it look like he's in California or Texas, and he'll post.
So you can't even, like, you're in Fort Worth, you can't technically come to Craigslist in Nashville and post your stuff up there, can you? Or can you?
Well, I could, but the chances of it sticking aren't as good as if I was in Tennessee.
What do you mean sticking? Does Craigslist
Uh,
ferret that out and block
yeah,
it or something?
sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Why is it? And maybe I'm wrong about this, but I thought I heard Justin say he does most of his on Facebook and he don't do anything on Craigslist. Is that true?
I think most of his are on the Land's websites, land.com.
But not Craigslist. Is he
No,
just too? Again, is he just too lazy to repost?
no, it's a difference in properties. So he's got a lot of those real high end. We think we can't really exactly figure it out, but we think it's because he has a lot of the higher end properties, 40, 50, 60, $100,000 properties that you would go to Lands of America to look for. A lot of mine are I shop 20 to 50 acre parcels that I know are going to be really good for owner financing. Some of them are dirt. Some of them are just nothing really, as long as they got access. That type of buyer is on Craigslist.
Why didn't you, and because you guys are friends and you grew up together, it sounds like, and you've done everything together, why aren't you guys doing like the same type of properties? Just how did y'all wind up doing such You came on board first, right? How did
Mm-hmm.
he get input? Did you bring him on board?
He saw what I was doing, and he wanted to get I don't even know if he saw what I was doing. I just told him what I was going to do, and he's an
Then he
entrepreneur.
laughed.
Yeah, he's entrepreneur minded, so he wanted to jump in on it. He'll always tell you that he said, "Great, let's get the business going." And I said, "Well, I think I'm gonna do this one on my own."
Really?
Yeah.
That is rude too, man. You're just a rude dude. Your
Well,
best friend.
I,
So you made him compete with you, right?
well, I wouldn't even say we compete because even though we have separate businesses, we're on the phone every day, and so that's really helped us out because we have that. I can call him, he can call me, just like you could probably call Tim and talk to him about things. It really helps
Yep.
out, and it turned out to be the best decision because my business plan is so much different than what he wants to do. Like I want to build a cash flow business that's generating 20, 30, 40, $100,000 a month. So if I want to take a year off, I can. Justin wants to build up big cash flips where he's getting $100,000 a piece. And through Plum, he's helping other people do it. And so he's got 20, 30 people looking for those type of properties, and he's funding other deals, right? And so that works great for him, and doing cash flow stuff works great for me. And if we were partnered together, we'd probably be butting heads like, oh, I want to pull the business this way, he wants to pull it that way. And so it works.
Yeah.
And now we got the show, and we seem to be on par with the show. So
how long were you guys both in the business at the same time before you guys decided to start the show?
we decided to start the show in December. So
okay. So you've been in 2016. So basically 3 years after you've been in, you've got a pretty good handle in your business.
Yeah.
And he says that, term deals suck, that you really should just do cash only.
Well,
you don't agree with that.
So we like to joke about that, but in reality, we each do the other stuff because I couldn't do terms deals if I didn't do big cash flips, right? And he couldn't. Right. And on the other side of it, he likes the terms deals to cover his monthly needs. So he has terms deals, and
yeah.
I do, but if we had to choose, I think we would both stick with what we just like.
Okay, so Marilyn just said she hopes she didn't miss too much. She just got home from work. Marilyn, you'll get a replay link, so you'll be able to replay the first part if you missed anything. So Nick here, Nick Sliger, do you know Nick?
I know the name for sure.
Okay, well he's been on. He's one of the guys I interview. He told me today. He called me up today, and we were just chatting. And he told me that he leans towards cash sales, but your podcast, inspired me to figure out my monthly expenses and start to build up monthly terms to cover that amount. Do you try to get your initial investment back from the down payment and doc fee, so it's all profit at that point?
So no. The way I do it is the price. So let me see how to say this. I'm shopping 20 to 50 acres that I'm paying anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 for. And so the way I do it is a 1 year payback. And that means getting 20% of what I put into it as the down payment. And so let's say I paid $4,000. I want to round $800 as the down payment. That leaves $3,200. And then I take 10% of that, and I try and get that as my monthly payment. I like to be 5 years of straight cash flow.
Wait a minute. What is that number though? Is that 3,200? So 320 would be your payment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after 1 year, that'll be paid back, and then it'll be 5 years of straight cash flow at $320 a month.
Nice. Have you ever got to the point where you could get, like I got a property right now I paid $4,029 for, and I'm asking 17 because that's actually way below. That's like a 4-banger if I sell it for that. But hadn't had any bites yet. It's in a lake destination place, so it's kind of like a summer home place. So I think when the weather heats up, we might be able to get that price. Had 3 different agents say don't price that thing less than 25, but more like 30 to 35. So I'm thinking 17 is a pretty good price. But if I could get $4,000 for it on a down payment and then set up payments, I would probably be happy to do that because I'd have my money back and then make my money on the back end. Adam really pointed out to me today that he has a story similar to yours. He started off with a bang, he went full time, and then he ran out of money. and then he had to go back and get a job, and then he came back, and you said something to me. I'm going to put this in the chat because this is what you sent me in Facebook messaging this morning. You said, okay, where'd it go?
Yeah,
it's at the top there. Okay, so this is what you told me, and I thought, wow, this really is that you think the best part of your story is that you've been successful, but you failed miserably, started over. Where did that come in at? Because you hadn't said that yet.
Yeah, so I consider the failure when I was a realtor and home investor. So I was, as a realtor and home investor, I was probably selling 40 homes a year. I was making really good money, but I was also spending every dollar I made. I mean, I was living that high life. And when the market crashed, I went from selling 40 homes a year to one.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And when that happened, I sold all my furniture. The electricity went off. I don't know if you can see this right here. This lamp right here.
Is this the famous lamp? Okay.
Yeah, this is what I lived by until Justin helped me get a job on the railroad.
Holy cow. So your electricity got cut off. And so to read the overdue bills that came in the mail, you use that.
Yeah, that's not a lie. So I felt like I never thought that the crash would affect me, because I remember specifically when the news was talking doom and gloom and that realtors all around me were going broke. I had 9 home closings in 1 month. And so I thought, man, I don't know what everybody else is doing, but they're doing it wrong because I'm making a killing. And then 2 months later, I'm parking my car at a parking garage like 3 condos down because I don't want the tow truck to come find it. And so
did they ever find it?
No, they didn't. Thank God, because it's hard to try and sell homes when you're walking.
Exactly.
But anyway, thanks to Justin, I got the job on the railroad, rebuilt, and then slowly through land investing, I've been able to get up to this point where, I'll partner up this year, use some of my own money, but I'll do deals where I make my cut, even if I'm partnering, will be $10,000, add another $500 to $7,500 in monthly this year.
So you're doing pretty good. So can you say that if you wanted to retire right now, how long do you think you could go before your term deals start to either get paid off or, peter out?
So I don't really have a big default rate. So I'm looking at about 10%. Even if the ones I had defaulted, I could just resell them. So, I mean, I could go 5 years, 6 years. Yeah.
Not bad. So Ben is asking advice for a LA Pro member that has been successful buying and selling desert land who wants to move up market, want to understand how to determine the offer price. So he's used to buying those really cheap desert properties, and now he's wanting to do something a little bit bigger. How does he do that? He has to change. He has to change locations then, number one, as far as where he offers?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're looking in the desert and you want to get out of the desert, that's essentially the best thing.
Or can he do what he's asking though in the desert? Can he just go up bigger size properties and get to that point when he says up market?
Is he looking for? I don't know. I clicked out of it, but does he want to do big cash deals?
Yeah. Why don't you chime back in, Ben, and tell us: are you wanting big cash for expensive properties, or you just want to do bigger size properties in the desert? Maybe the margins are about the same. Which one do you want to do? And Justin's bragging here. He says he's got 25 term deals. Is that anything to be bragging about, do you think, Adam?
Well, just imagine if he, I know he has some that are $600-700 and some are $250. I mean, do the math. That adds up pretty quick.
Will you disclose how many term deals you got on the books now?
I'm just barely over that, and I hope I'll probably add another 35 this year.
Okay, cool. How many times have you changed where you mail? Like you're mailing in, I don't know, Oklahoma, and you do that for a year or two. Do you stay there as long as you can, or do you skip around the country? How do you determine where do you go?
It's just a feeling. Like I did a mailer today, and I said, you know what? I want to own some land in this state and this state. And then I do my research and I send it out. I've never really stuck in one. Every single mailer is a different area.
Really?
Yeah. I just like the variety.
And so it doesn't give you heartburn or the willies at all that you're going to a totally new area and it might not work the same? Or do you find that no matter where you've gone, it's always the same?
So I look for other investors as part of my research to if I'm going to do accounting. And so if I see another investor is working there, well, then I know it's been vetted. I know it can be done. I don't want to see 20 or 30 investors there, but if I see 3, 4 investors that are working that area, well then, and they've got stuff for sale.
How do you know there's 3 or 4 investors working in an area?
Lands of America.
Oh, you can tell by the way they post their sales and their price.
Or their company name or,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've been around long enough, who's in the business. Like, Luke, you come across him maybe. And you ever come across Steve and Jill stuff?
Every now and then, yeah. Because I recognize their logo, I don't ever really see their name. I used to when we first started. You would see Steven's name, but I don't ever see him anymore.
Well, he says he doesn't do mailers much anymore. They just have so much out there that every day they got 3 or 4 or 5 deals coming across their desk from stuff they sent out a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know he says he has a database of more land than we could possibly buy right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This stuff he is already sitting on, the land he's collected.
No, of just people that signed yes on their offer and sent it back, and he just never got around to buying it.
That's crazy. Man, he should bundle that thing up like back in the Smith Barney, I forget who it was. They packaged up the mortgage debts and they sold them off. And he should maybe do that, package up 10 packages and just sell them off to folks like us. I don't know. He could probably get away with that.
I don't know for a fact, but I've heard, he's an entrepreneur. I've heard him talk about doing that kind of stuff, selling off contracts. I don't know if it'll ever come through or not, but he's always thinking about ways to make money on deals he's got.
All right. Ben says on the upmarket question, looking to get out of the desert to nicer properties. My desert properties, I've split 60% term deals and 40% flips. So how does he do that? Just pick a market that he likes. That he would say, I'd like to own property in Texas or Michigan or whatever.
I know one of the things that Justin and I talk about is look for property that is probably selling for. So if you want to go up in price, right? So $1,000 an acre is a pretty good range, right? It's what it's selling for, and then you can offer 30 to 35% on that. Maybe let's just say it's worth $1,000. You offer 350. Those are going to be the kind of deals that you'll end up buying for that 5 to 10 and selling for that, 20, 30, $40,000. An easy way to do that is pick a state. Let's just say you want to go to Colorado. Go to Lands of America. Put Colorado. Put the actual state, not a county or anything. End of Lands of America. And for your pricing, right, range it from like 20 to 40 acres 20 to 40 acres with a price range of 20,000 to 40,000. So that equals out, right?
$1,000 an acre.
And then hit search and see what comes back. Pick the counties that have if properties come back like that. Yeah. And then
so if a property comes back like that, then what?
Well, then then you know that properties are selling for around $1,000 an acre there, and then start researching that county. If there's several of them, like if you just see one, well, you'd probably want to keep looking. But if an area comes up where there's 5, 6, 7 properties that are selling for $1,000 an acre, dig deeper into that county because those are the ones that you can target that you can offer 35% of on that. And when you're buying and that nicer property for that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, whatever it is, if you partner with Plum, you do $20,000 deals. Those are going to attract the cash buyer because they're prettier, they're nicer. The type of person that's looking for them, that's what they want. That's how they buy them.
So if you did that with a state like Colorado and one county came back, does that mean all the other counties are priced higher than 1,000?
Well, it just means that none are for sale at that point. It doesn't mean that that's the only one, right? Because you could check it a week later and something else could come up.
So what if you go into a county where there's not a lot of stuff for sale, like you say, it's just like nobody wants to sell their property. Wouldn't that still maybe be a good place to mail? Because if nobody is selling, if you did find anything that people would do a deal with, you're going to be able to turn around and sell it because it's just not anything. The market's not there. There's not enough supply.
Yeah. In my experience, if no one's selling stuff there, no one's working there, that's because it's not a good place to go. Like I thought when I first got started, I picked these 3 counties in Texas, and I thought no one's working there. They met all the criteria that Land Academy teaches you, and I thought I found the golden nugget. Right, I'm gonna send out a ton of mail and be the only one buying, and because no one's selling, it's gonna be really easy for me to sell. I think I sent 3,000 offers, and I got 0 back. 0.
So that's what I think that's happening to me right now in these 3 counties that I'm working in. So you just found a county. To me, that doesn't make sense. If you could, I guess you're saying nobody's willing to sell to you at any price. Because if they were able to sell to you, wouldn't it make sense that if nobody is selling their property and you get one, there's going to be a bunch of buyers once you put it on the market because there's just not a lot available. Wouldn't that make sense?
I mean, it definitely sounds like it would make sense. I don't have the experience to tell you yes or no, but I mean, okay. if it was an active market, there would be properties. This is my opinion, but if it was an active market, then there would be active properties for sale.
Okay. Why would a county not be active?
It could just be a dead county. It turns out that the ones I mailed to they were just dead. They looked good to me on a map. Of course, I was new. I may go back and look at it now and think something different, but they could just be a ghost town. Maybe at once it was a good town, and now it's just
maybe a manufacturer pulled out and they were the heart of the town, and everybody is laid off. And I know a place like that right now. My dad's house that I inherited, I can't sell it for crap because the paper mill that employed everybody there, and then all the people that were married to those people that had jobs and other things. The mayor decided they wanted that paper mill to pay more taxes, and the paper mill said, "No, we're not going to do that." She goes, "Well, you wait and see." And they said, "Okay, you'll see." And so they just packed up and left, and they dismantled that whole mill, and there's nothing there but a fence now. Every single thing was taken out of there, and that place is dead. I can tell you from experience, you don't want to try to buy a house there because I can't sell it. So maybe you're right on that. Ben is asking forgive my ignorance, but what is plum? Keep in mind, guys, next week, Justin's going to be in the hot seat, and he's the one that runs plum, but you can give a quick overview for Ben, but I'm sure Justin will go deep into it next week.
Yeah. Just quickly, Plum is a company that Justin owns. Justin's my co-host for our podcast. They fund real estate land deals. So you have a property, it's $10,000. You don't have the $10,000. You take it to Plum Investment Group. They look at the deal. If it matches the criteria, they'll partner on the deal with you. They'll put up all the money, close the deal. You get an agreement with them, and then when the property sells, everybody gets their equity.
So that's a great idea, man. And then Land Academy is doing it through something called Deal Tank. And then Steve and Jill, they have their own thing that they do, like he's doing Plum. I think I'd come to Justin because Justin sounds like he'll help you. But Stephen and Jill, you better have your sea legs going because you got to know what you're doing. Because they don't have the time to help you because they just, that's why they're getting rid of House Academy. Anyway, I'm going to put an offer up, guys. I am an affiliate for Land Academy, and if you've been hearing us talk about Land Academy, not sure what it is, go check it out. But there's an offer right there that you can get $500 off of the amount that you'd pay to get in, and the code is BuyLand. That is the discount code BUY Land. If you want to get in on that offer. And I highly recommend it. It takes money to make money, and it's a small price to pay to learn knowledge. That's what you're paying for, really, is the knowledge. So let's switch gears just a little bit. As far as tools and things you use, I know you use a VA. How did you find the VA? If I want to hire a VA in the Philippines like that, how would I go about finding that person that knows how to do Craigslist? Or is that all they do? Do you have any other VAs that do other parts of your business?
So I use Upwork. It's a website of nothing but VAs. They've got stateside, they've got overseas. You can pick who you want to work with. I put up a job, essentially request.
A description of what you want to do.
Yeah, and then people bid on it. They send you your resume. You can filter through them, pick the ones you want, and go from there. I do have a little trick that I use on Upwork. It's called the no brown M&M clause. I talk about this when Justin and I had a meetup. I talked about it. So have you ever heard of the no brown? Have you ever heard about the no? So I use it whenever I hire anybody. So back in the day, Van Halen, the band, right? When they go on tour, you get these big contracts where they can demand whatever it's called, a contract writer, right? Where they say
the green room crap that they want.
The green room crap, yeah. Van Halen would hide in their contracts. They want a big bowl of M&Ms with no brown ones in there. And then they wanted it at the front door. So when they walked into the green room, it saw a bowl of M&Ms. If all the brown ones were missing, they knew that there was a solid chance they were working with an organized company and that everything else would be proper, would be right, right? And that's the kind of level of detail that I want. So I always try and slip in a little no brown M&M thing into my job descriptions. And so I'll put my description, right? Oh, I need someone who can do this, 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 and this. If you're interested, or if you think you match this, it's at the very bottom. Send me an email and start it with the word rural, or send me an email and start it with the word, I don't know, land. And you'll get a ton of responses, right? And only maybe 30% of them will have read your entire email and start it with land or rural or whatever you said, whatever your no brown M&Ms are, right? You get rid of all that 70%, and the people you're left with, you know they're probably going to be at least halfway as decent because they're paying attention to what you said.
Very interesting. In fact, it reminds me of a trick our science teacher pulled on us in school. He handed out this lesson, and it was all these things you had to do. Like there was a math problem, and you had to do something, and the smartest guy in the room was one of my good friends, and he was racing through it, and when you get through it, like about 75% through it, one of the tasks you had to do is you had to meow out loud as you can. Of course, he was the first one to do it because he was faster. He was smarter than everybody else. So he was going through there, meow, and like everybody's looking at him like, "What do you do that for?" There's all this stupid stuff. But when you got to the end of the letter or the end of all these tasks, like 20 tasks, the last one was the first one was read through the entire thing and then apply these things. And the last one was if you've read all of this, now go back and put your name on the top of the page and turn it in. You're done. Yeah. But you didn't have to do any of that stuff because people, like you say, they didn't pay attention and they wound up meowing and doing the other stupid stuff that had you do. That's kind of the brown M&M. Then I like that. Yeah. So how do you once you find those people that get through that filter? How do you determine if this how do you do an interview with somebody in the Philippines and decide this is the guy I want to work with?
Yeah, so I asked for what's the word I'm looking for? Examples References. Of their work. No, examples of their work. Because like I said, a lot of these people, they specialize in this stuff. And so if I'm dealing with people that are overseas and they say that they're making it work, I want to see that they're actually making it work. So I say, well, send me, I don't know, 5 links to what you're working on right now. And so like the guy that I hired, he sent me 5 links to land that was in Colorado. And I could click on it and see that it had not been flagged and see that it was live. And I liked what he had to say in the ad. His ads worked good for what I was looking for. And also I liked that his emails were clearly written with good enough English. And his price was reasonable for what I wanted to do.
What kind of price? Can you give us a range of what price it might be to hire a VA from the Philippines?
Yeah. You're looking to look at, so I pay $1 an ad.
Okay.
And you can get 50 cents. Some people want more than $1. I found that $1 will get you someone who's good.
When you say $1 an ad, you're not saying $1 every time he posts it, like 10
Mhm.
times a day. It's every time he posts then.
Yeah.
$1 per post.
Yeah, and if it gets flagged, right, that doesn't get charged. He'll redo that one. So you have to check it, right? So I have a Google sheet, and every day he has to post the ads that he did, and I go in and check them.
How does he post it? Does he get like a confirmation that the ads change, and you take that copy of that email and put it in there as a proof, or what?
He provides the Craigslist link to the actual ad.
Okay, that makes sense. And I will say this: that from everything I've ever learned about using VAs, the Philippines are really good because they are westernized. They're real hip to the U.S. Social culture, and they have very good English skills. So it's a real good match. Let me ask you. Go ahead.
There is the option. I don't know if you ever heard of Landmasters. Landmasters is a Philippine-based company that they 100% specialize in land. They can do your county research. They can do your offers. They can do your marketing. They do everything. I know Justin uses them. I think I could be wrong, but I think Luke Smith has something to do with that company.
Huh. So that's the cardinal rule though, is you can delegate everything else, but you're not supposed to delegate pricing. Is that a rule that can be broken then?
Some people do. I don't, but I don't. I mean, if you're comfortable with, Landmasters, that's what they do. They specialize in land. So
why would they even pimp themselves out? Why don't they just go ahead and buy some land and get into business?
I don't know.
All right, let's look at let's switch over to any other tools. Like, for example, Land Academy uses Parcel Fact, which is a proprietary website that Stephen came up with, and we've got other things. We've got contracts with RealQuest and Data Tree, etc. Are there any other software tools or services that you use that's not a part of Land Academy? Like I use Parlay 2.0. I think it's the most awesome thing ever. Do you use anything out? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I know what Parlay is. Yeah.
Okay. Do you use any other software or service that is not part of the Land Academy family?
No, not regularly. So I would say 98% of my business is done with their tools. Parcel Fact is one of my favorite things. I have used, I don't know if it's Ox Hunt or OX Hunt, but it's essentially like Parcel Fact and Parlay. You can't search by APN though. You got to search by last name, but they provide cool ways to look at the property, so that they have good stuff for marketing. But yeah, I'm a Land Academy tools guy. I use Parcel Fact. I use Title Pro. I have used their Deed Perfect. I don't know. They provide what you need.
All right. So if you're brand new, you're probably going to wind up using RealQuest and get your letters and do offers to owners, etc. When does Agent Title Pro come into view? When would you use that? Because I haven't used it, and I don't know when I should be using it. How do you use that particular tool?
I use Title Pro for due diligence. So you get a property back, you can go into Title Pro and put the county and APN, and then it'll give you a look like Parcel Fact does. But it also comes with a property report. So you get the owner's info, you get GPS coordinates, you get school information, you get deed information. Sometimes I don't know the difference, but sometimes you can actually click on it and get a deed. You get a certain amount each month with Land Academy, I think.
So you can see if the deed, who had the deed before, and then be able to maybe do almost like a title search then? Yeah,
that's essentially what it's for, yeah. Because you can see first current owner and last owner on sometimes. The data isn't always 100%, but sometimes you can get all the information you need.
And do you pay that by the record that you pull? How does that work?
No, you get a certain amount with Land Academy for free, but I think it's 20 or 30 a month. I mean, it's a high number, and then you can always add more. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. And when you're doing due diligence, how much into title searching have you gotten into versus there's sometimes where your deals are so big you're going through a title company, it doesn't matter, they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a time where you doing the smaller deals that you were doing your own title searches, and what does that entail?
I probably should be doing better than I've done, but for me, I look at the current owner, who I'm talking to, make sure that they're the person on the deed. If I can see who owned it before them, and see that it lined up from them, from the previous owner to the person I'm talking to, that's pretty much all I look for.
So have you ever been burnt? I know you had your war story about the lady that
Mm-hmm.
supposedly had all these dead relatives that are all alive.
Yeah.
But besides that one, I mean, you might want to tell that story because some people may not know about it. But have you ever been burnt on just you had a lien or something on there that you didn't know about and it came back to bite you?
Not yet. Hopefully it won't happen. But I've had the properties that I've had long enough that it shouldn't come back. I mean, you
All
can
right. So,
see some of them. You can see back. Like some of the counties are really good. Their information is really good, and you can see all the way back. And I've never had a problem.
okay, good. Ben said, I think Luke found the VA first, and then she built Landmasters, and then Sanju is saying here that they are VAs that were trained by Luke Smith. Not sure if he's in the business interest in them, but many members use them. So maybe he's just, why would he train them unless they were part of his deal?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it says on Landmasters that it's a Luke Smith company. Again, I
Oh,
could
okay.
be completely wrong though.
Okay. I think this is the question I just asked. What resource do you use for title
Mm-hmm.
chain research? What percentage of your business do you, how much of your business do you do in-house closings now? And do you use any particular title search company?
Yeah, so that number's changing with the price of my properties. So it's going to cost me $5,000 or more, it just goes to a title company. And at this point, a lot of my properties are going there.
Have you considered going to an attorney like Joe Martin has talked about?
No, I didn't even know about it until you mentioned it the other day, and I still don't know the details about it.
Basically, he's saying that there's attorneys that that's all they do is specialize in closing land deal or closing real estate deals. They don't do divorces. They don't do patent research. They do land and real estate, and that they specialize in it. And then because they specialize in it, they're not as expensive as title companies, and they can turn around a property in 72 hours with a title insurance and close in 72 hours from the time you say, "Hey, I'm ready to close." That's like unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Justin was just saying that isn't your what is he?
VA in India.
Oh, is he just pulling your leg?
I was going to say I don't know, he might be in India. He could be in Bangladesh, or he could be in the Philippines.
Maybe maybe you've actually hired a VA in the Philippines who subbed it out to a guy in India. You've seen that meme, haven't you?
I
Where
sometimes I think that the guy that I pay has subbed it out. Like he's charging $1 and he's paying someone else 50 cents.
exactly. There's like one guy in India that's doing all of the work out there for VAs because it's all funneling down to that one guy. Do you use the same land contract for every state or modify for each state? That is a question I've had. When you go into a new state, how much research do you have to do to figure out, oh, wow, their laws are totally different than the laws I'm used to?
Well, are we talking about on the sell side when I sell it?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what do you
Oh,
use?
you're talking about for on terms when I sell it on terms?
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
I use the same one to answer your question.
Okay.
I don't worry so much about.
Yeah, she's one of no term deals.
Yeah, I don't worry so much about the laws. Maybe that'll come back and bite me. I don't. It hasn't yet. I've got terms deals in 5 different states. Nothing's come back to me yet.
But isn't there a state or two that you can't even do terms deals because it's considered illegal?
I don't know.
Do you know anything about that, Justin? Justin said Joe could be talking about attorney closed states. No, I don't think so, Justin. I think they got. I think that'll do them almost anywhere. He said all you got to do is Google real estate closing attorneys and you'll find them. They're out there. Okay, so Nick is saying he's having problems chase down people for affidavits for uninsured deed for properties that buyers are paying the title insurance for when they purchase from me. What does that mean? Are you understand what he's saying?
No.
Nick, you may have to explain that, man. I'm having to chase down people for affidavits of uninsured deed for properties that buyers are paying the title insurance for when they purchase from me. I don't know what that means. You may have to explain that, Nick. You got to. It's late and it's past his bedtime. He's starting to get blurry-eyed. All right, you guys, you got any more questions? Put it in there. What's the? Tell us the best deal that ever happened, like the home run that you just wish it would happen all the time.
So, well, I don't know if it's just one particular, but I went to this one county and I bought 220 acres split up in 6 different deals. I sold every one of them within a week of me buying them on terms deals, and it added $1,600 to my monthly. And all of them sold within a week. It was like I get off the phone, sold one within a couple hours, or the next morning someone else would call and buy another one, and then a couple hours go by and the next one. The entire county is sold out so quick I couldn't believe it.
How did you want? Now you had 6 different parcels. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That added up to how many?
220.
And did you sell them as 6 different parcels, or did you subdivide?
No, they were all. I sold them as 6 different.
Have you ever taken a big parcel and subdivided it? And
not yet, but that's definitely on the radar.
What are some of the things you consider doing that, say, Steven would say, no, that's not how we would do it? Like, I know Justin talked about some property where they had walking around with the county person because the property wasn't as big as they said it was. But while they were walking around, the county guy says, oh, you got about $100,000 of timber right here. And for whatever reason, he didn't even consider doing the $100,000 timber deal because it was just going to take too long or whatever. Are there possibilities that make you think maybe I should do a little dozer work here, or do a little this here, or do that to improve any of the properties and really make a bigger profit? And why wouldn't you do it?
I haven't, and the reason why is because it's easy for me to get distracted. And so if it's not a 20 to 50 acre property that I can sell for terms, I try not to even think about it unless I need cash, and then it's a bigger deal. And so would I like to make money on timber or windmills or self-storage, or would I like to, subdivide? It's if I put the energy and focus into that, I may slip from what's making me money. And so I try not to even think about it or look at it, because as soon as I get excited and see that I can make a lot of money, I'll go down that road.
Have you ever veered off the course and done anything that was outside your business model?
Yeah, I mean, Justin flipped me a duplex. I bought and flipped that duplex. I've done mobile homes. I mean,
so Justin did it to you.
Well, he presented me with a deal that was too good to pass up. So I mean, I had to take it.
Okay, I got you. Why did he do that? If it was so good to pass up, why didn't he just do the deal?
I think at that point he had several deals going on, and so
he just needed some relief. I got you.
Yeah, I mean, for an assignment of contract, he still made pretty good money. So I don't think he was really too upset about that one.
Hey guys, my business partner saying you're start too late, man. You'd have more people if you started earlier. I used to do this when I was in the Amazon. Didn't you say you used to be in the Amazon business?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, FBA, private label.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did the same thing. So when did you do that? It
was before land.
Was it during your conductor days?
No, I was working as an analyst. So me and Justin and I did that business together.
Okay, I did the same thing. I used to do the same thing that we're doing right now with Amazon sellers. I'd interview successful sellers, and I always start at 8 p.m. I don't know. I'm in Central Time Zone. If I start earlier, so I'm just wondering if you guys really think I should change it. Right now it's 50-50, so I'm not going to change it for 50-50. It has to be overwhelming before I'll start earlier, because you know what? You can sleep when you're dead, Adam. You don't need sleep. You can do it one time, right? Have you ever stayed up and did a bender, like you drank a lot and just stayed up all night?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That was 10 years ago, though. I'm a respectable coach now. I get up at 5 a.m. I got to be
That's
there
right.
for my clients.
So you teach CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
I don't
So
want to. So who's
1 hour a day, get out there. I do
well,
CrossFit and coach CrossFit.
who's better fit, you or Justin? Who can take? Can Justin take you if he needed to?
Justin's stronger. He's
He
definitely
looks
stronger.
big. Yeah.
He's into that bodybuilding stuff. I think if we had to lift some weights and run, it probably wouldn't be any kind of competition.
But what about Mortal Kombat? Who's going to come out on top?
Well, I am a world champion in black belt, so.
Bam! So, Justin, you need to watch your mouth, brother. So, I've got 50-50 on this poll. If you hadn't voted, you better vote right now because I'm going to end it. But, well, wait a minute. It's don't change it, and either one's good for me. So, nobody said change it. I'm right. I can't wait to show that poll to my partner. What kind of advice would you give? I mean, if you started over today, knowing what you know now, how would you do your business differently from the get-go?
Mm-hmm. I would.
I mean, you said you started with $1,000, right? You didn't have a lot of money, so you can't change that. You got to start the same way. Yeah. But what would you do different?
Well, nowadays, given what Justin has Plum, I would probably spend a little bit of money in consulting, find out what he likes, and then go for the bigger property. I mean, it's real easy when you only have $1,000 to do 1 or 2 desert deals and then run out of money, and you got to save up for 6 or 7 months. But
that's what Nick Slager did. And of course, he gives you guys credit for going back recently and really fine-tuning his budget to see where he's figured out exactly how much he needs. And that now his goal is to get that amount of terms deals coming in to cover his nut so that he can spend more time and not be under pressure. Mm-hmm. So you'd pay Justin a consult fee and let him school you on what he's looking for. What would that sound like?
Well, I've never done one of his consulting fees, but I'm pretty sure it would go like along the lines of he would, show you how to find the nicer property, and then you go out and find the property and you come back to him and you say, hey, does this work? And if it's a good property, he's going to fund it. So now I only had $1,000. I went out and found a property. I partnered up with Plum, and now instead of having $1,000, I've got 10,000, or I've got.
Oh yeah, I'm totally all over that.
And now you may take some of that. You put it into owner finance deals. You take a little bit more money. You go buy bigger deals. You partner again if you need to. Now your war chest is just building up, and you're building the owner finance terms to cover your bills. And then these bigger ones, that's the who doesn't like getting a big check?
That's your Lambo money.
Yeah.
So you've changed your attitude about how you spend money nowadays. You're a lot closer to the vest when it comes to, you don't spend money on frivolous things anymore. You remember what happened back in the crash, right?
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to have another crash in real estate or the economy? And if so, how would that affect your business? How would it affect our business in general? And how should we respond to it?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think we're going to see what we saw back in 08, 09. I mean, obviously it could happen because that wasn't the first time that's ever happened, right? I think, Steven says we're kind of going through one now.
Like slow motion?
Yeah, things have slowed down. The home sales have slowed, right? I think when that happens, you need to lower the price of what you're selling and sell it quicker. Maybe you're making the same offers, but you're just selling it quicker. And then if you have terms deals, let's just say your terms are $5,000 a month. Well, don't live on $5,000 a month. Be prepared for people to default. I know Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek guy, in 08, he lost 50% of his notes. And if he would have lived on 50%, it wouldn't even have been a big deal, right? Because he's still been able to pay his bills, his mortgage, nothing would have happened. He said on his book and his podcast, he built a multi-million-dollar home, and when all that happened, he lost everything. And so for me, even though like Justin and I always joke, it'd be cool to have a Lambo, it'd be cool to have all that. You won't ever see me buying that unless my terms deals, half of them can cover all of that. And that's just kind of how
Well, I guess it's going to imagine how you scale up to a point where you got everything you need, and then it's just fun money at that point.
Yeah.
So, look, Justin cussed. This is not a this is not a G-rated show. Anyway, all right. So Nick did clarify. I'm just put this up here real quick. He's saying that the title company wants an affidavit from the previous owner that the previous title transfer was legitimate. So he has to sign off an affidavit and say that. Have you ever come across that?
No, that's the first for me.
Nick, what state was that in, if you don't mind saying? And maybe it's just because you've never been in that state before. Or do you figure the title company handles that for you if they do the title close?
I got to assume if they're asking him, they'd ask me. I've never heard of it.
Well, Marilyn said the same thing. She said that happened to her last week. They asked for an affidavit of uninsured, and that was in Yavapai County. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
It sounds like. Where is that? What state is that?
Arizona.
Okay, so maybe just breaking the law, Adam, you're just getting away with it. So
I haven't been buying in Arizona since 2016. My first 3 properties were in Arizona. I haven't been back.
All right, so Justin put up Plum Investment. Whoop, that's not what I wanted to do there. Justin's put his link up there, Plum Investment, if you guys want to go check that out. It's a very nice website. I've checked it out. Do you do any consulting? Or does Justin?
Yeah, we both do it. Justin has consulting through Plum.
Okay.
And he also has it through Casual Fridays, but I also do it through Casual Fridays. Anyone wants to work with us, they go to our website, casualfridays.rei.com. There's a consulting tab. You can click on that, and it's real easy. There's a schedule button. You schedule it. You sign up. You pay, and we'll get back in touch with you and help you out.
Okay, so if I was going to consult with you, what questions do you think I should be asking you to get the most out of our consulting?
I would say a strong majority of the people that talk with us, they want help picking and pricing accounting. I would say that's the strong majority.
Do you actually go into accounting and then look at it and show them how you would price it based on what they've done?
Yeah, we'll share a computer screen. I'll ask you questions. We'll work the whole thing out together.
Because I almost might be interested in doing that, because I would kind of like to see, okay, these 3 counties that I just sent mail to, and I'm not really getting results back. I'd like for you to look at it and say, well, no wonder, Jake, you're just being retarded here, man. You just totally missed it. Why in the heck did you price it this way? Because I think that's the biggest thing people have. How long did it take you to figure out that you're pricing things correctly? Was it how many mailings it was, or was it a year into it, or a month? I mean,
I don't really know to answer your question. It just seems like you keep doing it. You judge your responses. You know that you learn your response rates, how many responses you're getting, and you just adjust, right? So if you're sending 3,000 mailers and you're not getting anything back, you've probably priced too low. So you go back and look at it again, just from there. So on your next mailer, you know what to do. Over time, it just kind of comes into place.
So tell me what you think about this theory I have. I have this theory of why it should matter. Because if I price something at, say, 30% of the lowest one and nobody's biting on that, or let's just not only talk about whether they bite or not, but if I offer a 30% price, why should that matter versus 35 or 40 or 25? Because it seems like to me, if somebody's going to sell their property that dirt cheap under market, then they must not be comparing it to what's going on out there, because they wouldn't be selling it that cheap. So why would they get upset? Like, oh my gosh, this guy, I'm gonna call this guy and cuss him out because he offered me 30%. I would have taken 35, but he insulted me at 30, so I'm gonna cuss him out. It don't seem like it would make a difference to me.
I can't answer that. I mean, to say there's people they're people.
You're not worth killing, man. You're just wasting my time here.
I've had a guy. I made an offer on 40 acres in Arkansas. I offered him $39,000. He called and said no, and his counter offer was 40,000, and like that was his number, and anything below that was not going to accept. And that's just how people are. You offer them 10,000, that's insulting. But if you would have offered them 11,000, okay, well, that's acceptable.
Okay. So Justin is saying if you offer 30% of the cheapest, that's not the market. All right. Well, you're going to be in the hot seat next week, Justin. You're going to have to defend that statement and
Well,
explain to us
so
what's
what he's
going on.
saying, I heard you say that too, and so I didn't know if you just accidentally did that because you said I offered 30% of the cheapest property, right? Well,
Yeah.
if you take 10 or 15 properties, you're taking 30% of all of those combined, and so it's not
Do
like
you
you're.
do you do an average or a median price of those 10 or 15, or the 10 or 15 lowest ones on the list?
No,
Or the
so
10 or,
let's say you go to Lands of America. I'll take the first 10 properties from there. Then you go to Land Watch, take the first 10 properties from there. And then you've got this giant list, 10, 15, 20 properties. You're, I line them up, how much, how many acres and how much they're asking for it, right? And then
yeah,
35% of that for all of them. And then I look at the bottom number. So say if it's essentially an average, yeah. And if the average of 20 properties is 1,000 per acre, well, I'm offer 35% of that, 30% of that.
okay. So there may be 4 or 5 properties that are actually about the same price that you're offering. It's just that you're not trying to buy those properties. You're trying to buy the nicer properties that would appeal to people if you gave them a little bit more money.
Well, you want to find an area. If I understand what you're saying, you want to find an area that has everything's essentially the same. So if you're in a county where the top 10 properties range from 10,000 to 100,000, well, then those aren't like kind properties. You want to find a different county where everything is essentially the same.
So are you saying that you can't find a county that has some big, super expensive properties because they're right across the county line next to a big city and people are, but on the other end of the county, they're going to be much less because they're just more rural? That doesn't, so you're saying that
You
you wouldn't
can
be able.
do that. You can do that, but I would hope that area that has the more rural side
Yeah.
has 10 properties or 5, 7, 10 properties that you can take the average of instead
So
of
do you
just. Go ahead.
So do you drill down zip code wise now?
No.
How granular do you get? Because Joe Martin is doing it like by zip code now.
Yeah, I don't do that. I will look like there's a county in Nevada. It's huge, right? And like you just said, some of it is over to the west side of it's more expensive, and the east side is not so expensive. I mailed just the east side of that, and it was still 1,800 offers.
So how do you delineate in your mailer or your data to get those properties over here that you want to mail to without mailing to the other side?
So I don't recommend spending a ton of time on this because you get bogged down into analysis paralysis. But on Lands of America, you can look at the APNs for some of the properties. Not everybody puts the APN, but if you find like 5 APNs and they all start with 1045, and those are the ones selling for $100 an acre. On the others, and then you've got all these properties. APN starts at 6, 7, 8, 9, and they're all selling for $1,000 an acre. Well, I've just targeted the APN scheme that matches what I'm looking for.
So now you're talking about the number convention on how they number APNs. I've never been able to understand that. I've heard Steve mention it a couple different times. Yeah, you go in and figure out how they map out their county. Then you can figure out how do you do that though? How do you? I mean, are they just saying that everything in this block or this section up here are all going to start with the same map number or whatever it is? And
yeah, so the county already has that done, right? The county has labeled the entire area with whatever their scheme is, and when someone's selling it, they may post. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just blowing my nose.
You went away. You got quiet. Anyway, the county's already done on that. Now, I want to say I don't necessarily recommend this because this is the quickest way to get analysis paralysis. You start trying to dig down into every single APN and price it by APN, price it by zip code, and price it by this, price it by that. You're going to get bogged down. You're going to get worried if you priced it right. So the best way is just to in my opinion, find a county that has like kind properties and shoot for those. You can click on the ads on Lands of America. At the bottom, it says show tax data. Just grab that APN if you want to dig into it and just line those APNs up.
Spot check, maybe.
Yeah.
So I guess you could sort your database by then price per thousand per acre. I mean, if all the expensive ones over here are ranging from 5 to 6 or 7,000 per acre, and you're shooting for the ones that are 1,000 to 2,000, you could just sort your database and just say, I'll take everything under 2,000, how many parcels, and then mail that. That'd be the same thing, wouldn't it?
I don't know if I follow, but it sounds right.
Well, the expensive properties should be more expensive per thousand versus the cheaper properties that are less. So you just want to sort. You could sort it by price per thousand and decide, okay, I'm going to go up as high as 1,500 per acre. I don't want to do anything over that. That's all these properties left over here, and they tend to be in that side of the county, maybe.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah.
All right. So Nick is saying Redfin lets you download. Have you used Redfin? Because that's something they're doing on infill lots. Are you doing any infill lot business?
I've seen the 1.0 or 2.0 and whatnot, and the way that they work Redfin. I just haven't. Yeah, I don't need it for what I do. Are
you going to do it?
It doesn't match what I'm doing right now. It's not that I don't have an interest, because I'm interested in making money, but like I said earlier, I know what I'm working with right now, and that's what I do.
What about House Academy? You going to do anything when it comes out?
If someone wants to wholesale me a house and it's a killer deal, I'll do it. But I'm not going to be sending offers out for it.
Okay, just wondering. And I see Travis K is here. I don't know if it's Travis Keller or not. Have you ever? He dropped a bombshell in the interview last week. He literally mailed a county, and he knew he priced it too low after he mailed it. 30 days later, he mailed the same exact county and the same exact people. He just raised his price, and he made like 4 or 5 sales. And that's like, oh, it's not. That's against conventional business. You're not supposed to be able to do that. You're not supposed to do that. Have you ever remailed an area fairly soon and got results?
I've never done that. No, it doesn't surprise me.
Do you ever remail?
So not in the same year, but I'll go back after a year after a year has happened.
And what kind of results do you get? Same results?
Yeah, it's because there's always people buying these properties, and there's always people. Every year there's land investors like you, me, and everyone else on here. They're selling people properties, and a year later, those people realize that they've never even been to this property. They're never gonna go to it, and this is probably a quick, easy way to get out of it. So they're always going to be. That's why these counties work. Right?
A year from now, somebody that died right now and left their house to their kids, and you sent them a letter and you couldn't do business with them because they hadn't settled the estate yet. A year from now, the state's settled and they still hadn't done anything with the property. There's always that evolution of people coming in the market where now they just now realize next year they get the tax bill, and that's the thread that breaks the camel's back. I'm tired of paying taxes, and your letter happens to hit at the right time. When you send out offers to owners, do you have a specific time or day of the week that you like for that to leave them so that it hits on a certain day? Does it matter?
No, that doesn't matter.
Does it matter if a person gets a letter on Monday versus Friday?
I don't think so. I can't really tell when they get it to measure it.
Okay.
But
do you put your own address in there so you get a letter that you know that they're starting to hit, or you just pass that now?
No, Dustin and I have talked about that, and I think it's a good idea, but I've never. It seems like every time I do a mailer, I forget about it.
Okay. And then is there? Have you ever tried to time mailers with current events? Like if everybody's getting their tax refund back right after April 15th, wouldn't it be better maybe for them to get that mailer before they get their tax money back? Because once they get their tax money, they got a little money. They're not as desperate to sell now. Does that matter?
I don't think it matters. I don't really think any of this matters, right? So if you try and time certain things, you try and do this, it just never works. You don't know when these people are going to get your offer. You don't know what their situation. They may get $4,000 back in taxes and need $6,000. So it doesn't matter if they get it before or after. I think the whole point of this whole thing is just mail. And if you just continually mail, it doesn't matter what's going on.
That's what I'm starting to learn.
Yeah.
Just mail it out there. Forget about it. Be rude to your customers. I'm just messing with you. Is there anything I haven't asked you that I should have asked you tonight? That you said, that's obvious. He didn't ask me this. I should have.
No, I think we covered quite a bit.
Well, I think we're getting down to the end of it. Unless you guys have a question out there. And Justin, if you got anything, last parting shots at your partner, if you want to gig him when he's in the hot seat, go for it. If not, because I think it's probably time that we reel this in and call it a night. I really appreciate you coming out here, and thank you so much for promoting the show. I hope you guys go up there and click on the iTunes link up there and subscribe to the podcast. He's safe. Okay. So, but see, now you're like the home team. He's going up to bat next. So you're going to be able to, he's going to be in the hot seat and you got last shot at him.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm safe. That's why I'm safe right now. Cause he knows I'll be in the chat section next week.
Well, here's what we got coming up. We got Justin next week. The week after that, we've got Joe Martin. And then, let's see. I've got Rowdy Baker has committed. I just can't figure out time to get back with him. I'm going to be drunk. Okay, that's fine. Hey, let me know, man. If you want to do it, we can have a drunk Land Academy show. And it's not. I have to do it. I will say this. This is not a Land Academy show. I'm not endorsed by Steve and Jill. I think they hate my guts. No, I'm just kidding. Aaron says that there's Team Jake down there that's pulling for me, so I'm glad to hear that. I think I told you this, that Steve made a comment on a podcast last week that we got all these people going out starting podcasts and doing stuff online. They got 6 deals under the belt and they think they're a freaking guru or a freaking expert. Like, oh my gosh, I know he's not talking about you and Justin, so he's got to be talking about me. I don't know any other show out there. So I want to let everybody know I'm not a guru. I'm a noob and I'm just good at asking questions. And if I caught you at a bar and you're about to pass out drunk, that's what you look like to me right now, I'd be asking you the same questions and just asking what in the heck is land flipping and how you get into it, because there's probably people on here that are new, that are trying to get their business started. And I want to say you guys need to be listening to their podcast. They're dropping bombs every time they release a podcast, that there's good information about not just how to buy land, but how to run a business and how to be a business person and how to think like a winner, those kind of things. I will say this, and I told you this on the phone call, you guys, Justin, you need to do this, brother. You guys go back and put an intro disclaimer on your very first episode, maybe call it 00 episode instead of 01, and let people know that you solved your sound issue, because it was very difficult to get through those first 10 episodes. And I'm sure there's people that are not as dedicated as me that probably came on your show and heard that, and then they didn't stick around, and they're not sticking around. They're missing big time a mentorship that you guys offer, and that's the way I look at it. You're like mentors to me, learning the business, and I really appreciate that you guys are out there doing your podcast, and I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks, Marilyn, Robert, Justin, all you guys coming on board. Ben, any last words?
No, I really appreciate you having me on here and letting me talk and promoting the show. And thanks for everybody that came out. It's been a good time.
Well, down the road, we may do like a round robin where we have some of our past guests get on, like a panel discussion. So you're welcome to come back anytime. If you think you got something to say, we can bring you back on at some other point. But hey, I appreciate you guys. Next week, same bat channel, same bat time. You're going to get a link here in about 24 hours to replay. Hey, guys, you got friends that haven't seen the show yet, or the episode, the webinar, please send them a link to it and say, hey, get on board. The more people that we have on board, the easier it is to find some of these heavy hitters like Adam and Justin to bring them on and be guests, and we all learn. I hope you guys are getting that same kind of thing that I'm getting. I'm getting a front row seat to experts like you guys. Thanks, Adam. We'll see you on Casual Fridays podcast. We appreciate your effort out there.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.